Baseball. We are at the dog days of summer. The trade deadline's approaching, and there's a lot to get into. And even if New York baseball's hard to watch, there's still a lot to soak in from that perspective. Plus a lot of other stuff around the league as well. Hayden Dowler's joining me on this one. What is up, Hayden?
What up, dude? How are you?
I'm great.
Excited
I'm
to talk
great.
Yankees baseball,
Yes,
the
there's
state of affairs, sad or however you want to describe it, to be honest.
where can we go with it, Hayden? At the Sport, Yankees are playing in the Subway Series. And yes, Yankees and Mets are at least one will win, one will lose, but we have to accept the reality that both teams are a major disappointment this entire year. So first, I'm sure you recognize that, and
Yep.
let's get into that and a few
Mhm.
other things. So first, let's talk about the Yankees. Let's look at it right now. The 2023 New York Yankees, hated a team that had so much expectations, a team after a very disappointing end of last year, and essentially bringing the same team back, including bringing back Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone. And yeah, dude, we're just about to hit August, and this team is limping. Right now, they are 53 of 48. They are 2 games back in the third wild card. They're 8.5 in the division, and there's a lot to talk about with the Yankees. So tell me right now your initial thoughts on this team.
I mean, I'll give you some of my thoughts right now. I mean, it's not that they're that bad. It's really not that they're that bad. Like they're 53 and 48. Like they're fighting for a wild card spot. It's fine. But it's literally the same fucking team every year. Like it's
Amen.
almost unwatchable. There's nothing entertaining. There's no excitement. I literally have no reasons to watch. There's no young and upcoming players, maybe besides Volpe. The veterans are aging. They can't do shit. Rizzo and Stanton are they can't do crap. So it's like I'm thinking to myself, like at least if we sell, we can have some young pieces develop where you can see the future kind of start to build up. Because right now there's really no hitters on the team right now where I can honestly say are going to be back. You got three guys that are going to be back, maybe Judge, Cole, and Rodon. Like there's literally no reason for me to watch besides the fact that I'm a diehard fan. I try to watch as many games as I can. But like if you're trying to fill seats, they have no players that generate any excitement. It's pretty sad, actually. This is one of the probably not one of the worst teams ever because a lot of teams would kill to have like a team like this where you're competing for the playoffs. You're only 2 games out. It's not like the team is terrible, but at the same time, I can't remember a Yankee team being this boring to watch ever. And I'm just sick and fucking tired of the same crap every year that Cashman does, where he thinks we could just put a band-aid on something and it's just gonna magically solve. Like Aaron Judge is not gonna fix all your problems. The guy is never healthy. He's not on the field half the time. Like he's not gonna solve your problems. They should have gotten more speed. I would have argued even like I know they had a guy a while back, a year or two ago, Benintendi, that they should have kept him. They should have gotten more speed on this team. They need a better catcher. There's just so many holes that this team needs that it feels like every year it's the same goddamn crap I have to watch every year, and it's like hitting my head against the wall watching this team every year because it's not that they're bad. It's just the same effing product every year and year out, and it never changes. And it gets frustrating to have to see this every year. Like I don't know your thoughts on that, but like they need to change it up with Cashman or get a new GM because we need someone to bring some excitement to get people in the ballpark to watch this team.
You are validated and you are justified to feel this way, Hayden, and I feel the exact same way. And there is really one person to go to, well, essentially two. The ownership at Hal Steinbrenner and Brian Cashman. First with the owner, we obviously know he doesn't have the exact passion his father has. Whether that's good or bad, that could be argued, but he clearly isn't going to be making decisions on impulses and changing things right away. Again, he acknowledges he's not his dad, but to be fair, maybe some of his leadership qualities didn't exactly work. Of course, sometimes it did, but I mean, look at the entire 80s. They didn't win, and he was getting rid of managers left and right and moving players all the time. But regardless, though, you mentioned how this team is redundant, and let's look at it. 2017, you have the Baby Bombers. You bring in Stanton, and really on, I was not a fan of that signing, especially when you were building the Baby Bombers. Even though they're all gone, every single one of them is gone. No more Sanchez, no more Greg Bird, no more um, you know, people like Aaron Hicks and stuff like that. It's only Judge and Sevy. So looking at this team, and we didn't really make major changes since like 2019 once we bring DJ in and stuff. And yeah, you have the same formula and it's clearly not working. And we all know the definition of insanity. Do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, but it becomes the same result. But anyways, focusing on Cashman himself, just I guess we have to ask ourselves, Hayden, why does Cashman put the same exact product? And let's look at this. This team is essentially the same since 2019. Pretty much. Well,
Pretty
let's
much,
take
yeah.
it back. Pretty much 2020, we'll say. They are the same. And you see the Astros experimenting with new pieces. It's amazing how they could get rid of a George Springer, but a Kyle Tucker comes in. They could get rid of a you could get rid of like a Yuli Gurriel. He's
Let's mention
gone.
him.
And then you could bring Yordan Alvarez in. We just that's I can't remember when Cashman on the Michael K show in May said he's confused why the Yankee fans feel this way. But it all explained itself. Would you get rid of a Gio Urshela, who was a playmaker, who hit for contact? You bring Josh Donaldson, and he's a shell of his former
Donaldson,
self, and gets this calf injury, and he's not the same. And we just have to ask ourselves, Hayden, why do you think Cashman keeps the same damn guys? And for the first time ever in this deadline, where there are potential options, I don't even think they're gonna bother to do it anymore.
I don't. I mean, like people are also telling me like, I mean, they could sell, but like they don't even have any pieces to sell right now. Like you
No,
literally have nothing to sell, and it's like people want to put all of it on Aaron Boone and maybe, but I'm like Aaron Boone has been fine. It's really not Aaron Boone. It's the team Cashman put on the field is assembled for him. Like Aaron Boone is doing all that he can. Like he's a pretty decent GM. Like I mean, not GM. He's a pretty
manager.
decent coach. He backs his players. Like I can't say it's all Aaron Boone. I mean, I think it's more the general manager. And when you've been a GM for 25 years,
Yeah.
the guy's been in power. I mean, like he's had a ridiculously long reign. Why can't you just put him in a different role or give someone else a chance? Like the guy's at 25 years, and he got another 5-year, $25 million like contract. Like it's just
And haven't won since
crazy to
2009.
me. It's just crazy to me.
14
Like
years.
you're on a 15-year drought. Like you're almost on a 15-year drought. And like I get it. You've won 4 World Series, and that does. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's not a great general manager. Like Frank Cashman's a Hall of Fame general manager. He's won 4 World Series. He's been phenomenal. But you could also argue that like if he didn't have his payroll, like they wouldn't be as good as they are. But like, listen, I can't say the team isn't winning. The team wins every year. They're in the ALCS. Like they've been doing
But it's
everything
now
right.
time to get to the
But it's
next
just
step
time.
too.
It's just time to make a change. I mean, it's time to get someone new. And it's not even that he's really that bad. It's it's not that he's that bad. It's about time they got new blood and someone else who can really, change the team around and develop a different formula because this formula just is not working.
Yeah, no. And we are stuck with these contracts too. Stanton's under contract for another 5 years. Um, DJ has a couple years left to go, and we see he's not making these moves for it. And yeah, there's people of Volpe coming in, but he has a very special privilege because let's be real, Hayden. The way he's played this year, he should not be in the majors. I know he's good. I
No,
think he should. I think
I
he needs
wouldn't
more
I wouldn't agree with you
development.
on that. He means more development, but at the same time, it's not like the guy's batting like the guy's got his batting average up to 210. He's got a lot of pop. He steals a lot of bases. There's definitely talent there, like
I
without a
agree with
question.
you.
The guy could
I,
actually play a little bit. Like I'm not against Anthony Volpe. I think maybe he could have used the year. but this is a year where he's going to get his sea legs under him. Like the guy did raise his batting average, I want to say about like 20 or 30 points, where he's batting 210 now. If he could get like a 230, 240 hitter with the speed and pop, and defensively has made some nice plays. Like I'm actually kind of happy with the development with Anthony Volpe because I feel like he's taking his lumps, but he's still fighting out there every day. Like he's still stealing bases. He's making nice plays at short. Like he hasn't been perfect, but you could do worse than Anthony Volpe, to be honest with you. He gives you pop at the shortstop position. He's got like 14 home runs, I want to say. And there's definitely signs there's definitely signs that the guy's going to be a productive player moving forward. That being
Right.
said, is he the next coming of Jesus like he was made out to be? Probably not. But like, it's hard to replace a guy like even when they had Didi Gregorius. Like Didi Gregorius was pretty good actually. It's hard to replace guys like Didi and Derek Jeter, and like the shortstops they've had have been really good in the past. So it's like I'm not really expecting too much, but at the same time, the guy does have like 13 home runs, 18 stolen bases, got a decent glove. So it's like just give him a little bit of time. Like he's a guy who I would say he's definitely someone we could work with.
Yeah, and there's no point to bring him down now because one, the minor league season's three-fourths of the way done, and two, whether this was a social experiment to let him up and give him the privilege of staying up so long, yeah, I would have brought him down in May. But again, there's two at this
I
point. There's no
probably you're
point.
right. I would have maybe brought him up a little bit, like giving him a couple more months in the minors. But that being said, it's already a moot point, and
Yeah,
like
and
you're
whether
kind of
they
stuck with it at
kept
this
him up
point.
as a distraction for lack of these moves, if career, I never thought career was a legitimate option, but a lot of other Yankee fans did. I understand that, but you didn't bring him in, no Corey Seager. Maybe this could be a distraction. And yeah, he is truly going trial by fire, but at this point, you might as well keep him in there because there's no other better options. I mean, we'll see what
And
Peraza can do, but um, clearly this has been weird to say the least.
my issue is with the catching spot. Like there's like
Yeah.
Trevino is a fine player, but like they really need to upgrade that spot. Like I have nothing against Trevino. He's a nice player, good role player. As your starting catcher, he's doesn't really do it for me personally.
Hmm.
Like I didn't love Sanchez. I mean, the guy was slow as shit, and his defense was terrible. So like I'm not disagreeing with you on that. But like the guy did provide a lot of pop when he was there. Like he gave you a reason to come. Like he had a ton of home runs. He was one of the better hitting catchers in the league for a very
Yeah, it
long
was an
time.
all-star last year.
So he gave you a lot of pop there, which I feel like they're definitely they've been missing a little bit of. Like I feel like they could use a catcher I think they should try and. I mean, I know Real Muto signed with the Phillies. He had that long contract or whatever. But like, I definitely feel like they should try to upgrade their catching spot. Maybe try to get Yan Gomes. He'd be good. If they could make a deal for a very good catcher, that would be really helpful for the team, in my opinion.
And that's where we are at too. What you were mentioning, despite the team being so redundant and keeping these veterans, not trading for prospects, you now have a weaker farm system, not like what it was a few years ago. And that's what's the frustrating part is, and that's where we have to figure out at the deadline. One, do you actually trust that Cashman will actually make moves? And we know that he does. He usually will at least make a move, and we clearly seen he struck out a lot. But Teddy comes in, gets hurt, doesn't resign him this year. We clearly have a left field. We clearly have a open spot in left field, which we need to fill right now. Bring in Bader, but he was hurt. Doesn't come back until the postseason, and he has a good postseason. But there's all that time we were missing out on players on maybe a better option. Again, the track obviously. Well, I'm already blanking on his name. Fernando, from the A's, Morales. We bring him in and he's terrible, and I doubt we'll even see him pitch again. So we're now at the point where the luxury tax is a problem, and are the Yankees going to make moves? And they clearly have the spots. And whether you want to get Cody Bellinger, which almost seems obvious, he's a left-handed batter, he's on a resurgence, he's an outfielder, you could fill that hole in left field. And or if you want to go with a more affordable option, if you want to get a Randall Gurchick in Colorado as an option,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm with you on those guys.
But the thing is, and I'm going to ask you, do you think the Yankees will actually make moves?
I think for a couple of those guys, yes, I do. Um, the the sense around the team is that we're only 2 games back of the wild card,
Yeah.
so the sense is that they're going to try to compete, which rightfully so. I mean, if you're only 2 games out of the wild card, you should try to compete. Now, do I think this team is going to end up getting that playoff card spot? No. But that being said, I mean, you're almost in July, August, and you're only 2 games out of the wild card spot. It makes some sense to make some moves. I think they need to retool, but like I would not be. People have been telling me they need to sell, and I would not be opposed to that. Like I really think they should be selling. Like they could strip out, they could get some players, they could get some pieces that can maybe like build for the future. I would not be opposed to them completely selling because I don't feel like they're going anywhere this year. I don't see this team as a legitimate World Series threat. But what I think they're going
No.
to do is I think they're going to retool and try to get some patchwork to maybe get them to get that third wild card spot, which I think would be a mistake. That's what I think they're going to do.
So that's why I'm going to ask this bold question, Hayden. Would you now, of course, we don't want to see our team lose. We don't want to see our team tank in this case. But say the worst case scenario happens and the Yankees, for the first time since 2016, don't make the playoffs. That if they make moves and it all falls through, we see the Orioles keep making a run, and the Blue Jays, and even maybe the Red Sox. They all the wild card teams pass them, and they actually don't make the playoffs. Do you think that's going to be a bad thing? I'll first say no. I think for the first time, if the Yankees don't make the playoffs with these expectations, it might not be the worst thing ever. And I'll tell you why. The Yankees have made the playoffs, obviously, 4 times. They've only missed the playoffs 4 times since I was born, 4 times since 92. I was born in the very end of 94. But, anyways, Yankees always make the playoffs, and they always seem to be comfortable. And specifically in the last 6 years, they seem to be comfortable. They don't make moves. They make the playoffs, and we go through the circle again and again and again. So if this time you miss the playoffs, you absolutely infuriate your fan base because of the high expectations going into it, and then you could finally be held accountable. Wow, we did the same exact cycle. For the first time, we are not in the playoffs. And we're seeing the teams like the Baltimore Orioles, who have been making the correct moves, tanking, and are now have a great future ahead. We see the Blue Jays finally getting their act together. We've seen the Red Sox pass us, and now we are the team left behind, and now we look like jokes. And maybe this can finally tell, either if they want to do the absolute insane and say, you know what, Cashman, 26 years is enough. You failed to make the playoffs. Goodbye. Or will they finally make more conservative moves, move big pieces around, rebuild a farm system, and maybe start a new dynasty? Do you agree with me on that, or do you see it in another way?
Um, I agree with you. I think it probably will lead to sweeping change with the organization, what they need. But I do think I disagree with the fact that it's going to be an indictment on what they've done so far and that what they've done hasn't worked. Like, I mean, it's incredibly frustrating seeing Boston with guys like Bello, Duran, Yoshida,
Yeah.
like all these young prospects and Tristan Casas, like all these young guys that they've developed through their farm system that are really paying off. Like Toronto too, like Bichette, like Springer, just all these guys that are really being able to rake and develop, and just seeing our team how I don't want to say shit we've are, but how we've really done a crappy job developing our team. So like I think personally, for me, I don't think it would be a good thing that we missed the playoffs because it really shows that we just kind of fucked up all these years. That all these years kind of meant nothing, and that these teams that have basically done it the right way and utilized their analytical departments and farm systems are so far ahead of us. I think it would be a bad thing personally. But
Mm.
that being said, I think it would be a bad thing for the short term. Probably for the long term, like you said, I agree with you because it will make them make sweeping changes that need to be done. Because I mean, you can't. Like I said, I can't go through another year like this. Like I said, it's not so much that the product is bad because I can honestly, like I said before, we could both say the product really is not that bad. It's not like you're watching like the Oakland Athletics or like the Chicago White Sox, who are 20 games under 500. Like the product is good, but it's just unwatchable. And like we can't go through another season where it's just where the Yankees and you're gonna become irrelevant. That's my biggest thing with the Yankees is that it's not that they're gonna become bad, it's that they're gonna become irrelevant, which is almost even worse.
Hmm. Yeah, and I definitely respect your opinion on it, even if I think maybe being irrelevant will finally be the rock bottom we need. But only time's gonna tell. And obviously, if they make the changes, like if we could get our dream scenarios, a Bellinger, a Juan Soto, then
They're
maybe they'll get some excitement back. But if
Yeah.
not, then obviously I'll cheer them the whole way through. But if we fall flat on our face for real, then maybe we'll finally get the changes we
And
need.
like here's my question to you. Is Aaron Judge so like is he like a lock to stay the team? Like is it like we have to keep Aaron Judge? Like the team is not really one with him. Like I'm sorry, like is he this mythical god? Everyone makes him out like he's this mythical god and he had 62 home runs. Well, if you're never on the fucking field, then who cares? Like
Hayden,
I'm tired of the aura of Aaron Judge. Like I'm sorry, they haven't won anything with him. Like I don't understand why he's like needed so much. Like I'm telling me you can't get a bunch of prospects for him, really start to rebuild over and develop a team like that. Where if we're keeping this guy who we're not winning with him, like I don't really understand that. Like, is he really making us that much better? Like I don't see it, but I'll give your take on that.
I will put in my bias because Aaron Judge, no doubt, is one of my favorite players ever. But you do make a solid point in that, wow, we haven't won anything with him. He's been a Yankee for one, two, four, let me count, for 6 years and still no World Series left yet. I know we just signed into a mega max deal, which obviously we want in New York wants. So I would at least like to ride that out for a few more years in the contract. But there will be a point where we say, especially with him and Garrett Cole, and Garrett Cole is arguably the most underappreciated athlete because he goes in every 5 days and he pitches like a Cy Young Award winner. He is,
Oh, he's gonna win the Cy Young this year. He's been awesome this year.
with the exception of blowing it against Boston in the wild card game, he's lived up to his contract so far. But if we don't win a World Series in the Cole and Judge era, then it's an absolute major failure. And hence, maybe we finally need to have that hard medicine and wake up and make these changes we need. And I'm going to say a quote from the movie Platoon, and Platoon takes place in the Vietnam War. And let me just say this quote is obviously uncomparable to actual veterans who fought in the Vietnam War. But William Defoe said, "We're the United States. We've been kicking ass for years. Maybe it's time for our ass to get kicked." Something like that, or something along that lines. And well, it seems like that's what the Yankees have been. Despite 27 World Series, they haven't done shit in 15 years. And it's a hard truth. If we don't win in the next few years, what's the point of having Aaron Judge on the team? And even being one of the biggest Aaron Judge fans around, even I can acknowledge, yeah, there's something to that, and time is ticking. There is clearly a clock on this. And
I mean, yeah,
And now that it was announced that he will return to the lineup this week against Baltimore, which is a huge series,
yeah,
very
huge.
huge series. And we all know his injury running through the wall in Los Angeles and Chavez Ravine, which now, for all we know, Hayden, that could be an infamous moment in Yankee history. And if the toe injury is as bad as they're saying, that he might not be 100% even for the rest of the season, this is going to be a real test to see can Judge be Aaron Judge despite having a bad toe for the rest of the year. Do you think he can?
I think it's gonna be hard to return to the same player. I mean, if he could even give us like half of what he is, like that would be very good. Like if he could get you some big hits, we can, maybe they'll pitch around him. Like if he could hit a little bit, hit some home runs, that would be great. You know, we'll see. Like I said, we'll see. Yeah, and also no, this isn't related to Judge, but like another area I think the Yankees really need to address is like the closer situation. Like I feel like they don't have like a set closer.
Yeah,
Like they
Clay
used to have
Holmes
Chapman
doesn't
come
seem to
in.
be the guy.
Clay Holmes is fine, but like they kind of been using a little bit of like a platoon system at closer. I would like for that area to be a little bit addressed. Because the bullpen has it's not that the bullpen's been bad this year. The bullpen's starting to get roughed up because they've been used too much. But I mean, that's not really their fault per se.
One Aaron Boone criticism is his handling of the bullpen. Do
Oh
you
yeah,
think
yeah.
that's the
His
case?
handling of the bullpen's bad. But like that being said, like I could kind of get over his stuff with Aaron Boone because I feel like it's more on Cashman.
Hmm. Yeah, I just, Hayden, I just watch the Yankees and I don't feel like I'm watching the Yankees, if you know what I mean, that
Yeah,
aura
no,
they have.
that's exactly what I'm that's exactly what I think too.
And this is the first time, even the trade deadline, I don't even see anything saving them. But if Aaron Judge is the special player that we hope that he is, and I definitely hope this is the case too. He is. He's got his MVPs and everything else in this league except win that World Series ring. It would be amazing to see if Aaron Judge could truly turn this team around by his presence, even with a bum toe.
Yeah, I agree with that. You're gonna see the type of player Aaron Judge is really the next 2 months.
We're pulled for you, Aaron. We really, really are. Now, Hayden, I want to quickly talk about the Mets. Now, on the outside looking in, is it hilarious to see how much the Mets have been imploding this year with over a $300 million payroll, and they won't even make the playoffs? Is it hilarious for you to see? It is for me.
Oh yeah, I mean it's hilarious because they say, "Oh, we're gonna be the World Series contenders with Verlander and Scherzer," and then it's just the problem is you're paying for guys that are like kind of they're doing what the Yankees usually would do, which is kind of funny. They're you good, you good.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm good. I'm good.
They're going like all in, and it's like obviously it's not gonna work. Like you have Billy Epler who respectfully probably is gonna be gone after this year. Um, they just have a very like uneven team, and like I think like the hype of Steve Cohen or whatever. Steve Cohen's a lot all talk. Like he's this and that. Like what has Steve Cohen really done? Like he obviously just bought the team, but it's like I mean you're supposed to be the best team in the league, and like you kind of fucked up. Like it's just a joke. I mean it's really a joke how bad they've been. As a Yankee fan, it makes me feel a little bit better how much of a disaster the Mets have been because like the Mets are just a train wreck. They're one of the biggest disappointments in baseball in like the last 5 or 10 years. Like they've been just terrible.
Do you believe in curses in general, Hayden?
No, I don't.
Oh no, you don't. Okay. Well,
Unless you're talking about my dating life, then maybe. But not with sports teams. No.
well, the way this team has imploded so bad and all the promises and high expectations. Now, now I see maybe this team really is cursed. And Met fans are so cocky with Uncle Steve's beautiful money, and it's just led to an absolute joke of a franchise. Probably one of the worst collapses last year after a 100-win season, and not barely making the playoffs and not even getting out of the wild card round. Then you have Edwin Diaz get hurt in the World Baseball Classic. Then you have Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer, who are paid over $40 million, not become Cy Young Award winners, and well, for two players who are closer to 40 than 20, was it really a big surprise? I understand Verlander has been a little bit better, and Scherzer has been the real disappointment. But nothing's not working with this Mets team. There's nothing, and they too aren't making the big risks. And there's really no point to really sell off and
See,
try to get
they're
prospects.
they're even more frustrating than the Yankees because like they have talent. Like the Mets have more talent than the Yankees do. I
Mm-hmm.
would say arguably they probably have a better team, but like they have Alvarez starting to play well. You got Lindor, like Alonso. Like they have a
Yeah.
pretty decent lineup. They have a pretty decent lineup. I'm actually looking at it like from a non-biased point of view, but that's just infuriating because like the Yankees right now just have no players. I mean, I'm like look at the Yankees have like Jake Bowers, McKinney, like but like they're competing at least. The Mets is just that's a train wreck. Like you know, it's just that's really an embarrassment. The Yankees aren't as much of an embarrassment. They're just a team that's just not put well together. Like the Mets are a complete embarrassment. Like the Mets right now, how they have their team right now, they should be one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah. At least in baseball, and specifically baseball, it really shows that, man, you really can't buy a championship. It really is about development of who you have in front of you. And with the combination of analytics and the grit of the sport, it's why teams like the Astros have made close to a dynasty out of what they've had. They still need that third World Series to really accomplish that. But they've won two in the in the past 5 years. Sorry, past 6 years. No. You have Atlanta. Look what they are cooking up. They just won a World Series in
Like even
21, and
Cincinnati too. Cincinnati
yeah,
with De La Cruz, like they've developed him.
that's cool. And De La
Like
Cruz
they
is
look.
what we
Oh
wanted
my God,
Volpe
De
to
La Cruz
be.
is awesome. De La Cruz is awesome.
And he's great for the
Miami's got some nice prospects.
Baltimore's looking like
Yeah,
they have a great
there's
future
just so
ahead.
many teams in the league that have such exciting things, that have like exciting players to watch, and then you see like the Yankees, and it's just
Hmm.
it infuriates you.
Yeah, they just try to buy success, and it hasn't worked. It's only prolonged any potential for this team. Sure, they get close, but they're not even close enough to even make the World Series. That's why, again, if say the Yankees don't make the playoffs at all and they get completely shut out, maybe that's what we need. Now, I don't want to go through the pain like if I was a Baltimore Orioles fan for the past 5 years, but if it led to getting people like Cedric Mullins and Adley Rushman, who guys are, even younger than you and me, and they're locked in for years, maybe it's not a bad thing, They just need pitching. So, so Um, that's why, transitioning, say if these two teams want to get Ohtani for next year, and it was announced, just dropped today, that Ohtani's off the market. No one's gonna trade for him. Which, if I'm the Angels, who I believe they're five back in the wild from the third wild card, might as well have a chance. And you are most likely losing the best attraction in the sport in Shohei Ohtani. Might as well keep him for the rest of the season, and we'll see where he goes from there. But do you think acquiring Ohtani next year could be the one thing
Um,
that changes it for these guys?
I Here's the thing. I don't believe like get a Tani. I don't. I don't see him coming to New York.
Yeah,
Like
no.
I don't know why. I feel like maybe like it would be a better fit for like the Dodgers or somewhere out west.
Yeah, or Seattle could
Yeah, like
be an interesting.
I don't feel like the Yankees would be a great fit. I hate to say it.
No, I don't think so either. Or the Mets. But Met fans think that they will truly buy off Ohtani to come here. I talked to one person who genuinely believes that just having Kodai Senga as his fellow Japanese teammate might bring him. But no, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't. And Ohtani, I think, has been clear that he doesn't want to go to the East Coast, and he's better suited in the West. And I don't think even though in baseball specifically, bringing him definitely will make your games more exciting to watch, but he himself isn't going to change you into a contender. Don't you think?
I mean, I don't know about that because he can hit and pitch. Like he's the best player that the game has ever seen since Ruth. Like I would say, arguably. Like I think as a hitter, I think Mike Trout is probably a better player. Like hitting,
Mhm.
fielding. Like Mike Trout, personally, for me,
And he's
what
out.
I've seen, Mike Trout's the greatest player I've ever seen since Mantle. I'll say that flat out. But yeah, I mean, you also never seen a player that could pitch like Ohtani can as well.
Yeah.
But I think eventually they're gonna have to make him just a hitter because he can't pitch. It's just gonna be too hard.
Yeah, like by the back half of his career,
Yeah, he's just
Otani's
gonna become a full
29
hit.
right now.
He's just
So
gonna become a full hitter, in my opinion.
so yeah, in the next I think he has maybe 3 or 4 years being a dual player, but then after that, post 34, he'll just focus on hitting. Hence, so do you think he will break the bank? Maybe get close to a
Oh,
billion dollars in the
500.
contract?
He's gonna get 500 million, and he's worth every penny of that.
Solely on even if it was just the hitting.
Even if it's just a hitting, he should be getting almost that. Plus his pitching, he should be the highest paid player in MLB history. without a question. Like there is no person who I would say deserves more money than he does. Not Aaron Judge, not Harper, not Trout. Like it's Ohtani.
Yeah. And I think the Angels are doing the right thing keeping him. See if they make a very last minute run. If not, then they're going to even though they definitely could have gotten the best prospects by trading Ohtani. You just have to accept that this game is a business at the end of the day. All sports are businesses and trying to do the best to get the best revenue for them and their employees. And that's the cold hard truth. So just a few more minutes, Hayden. I was just wondering, out of the remaining teams left that we haven't discussed quickly, whether it's the Braves or the Rays or the Rangers, who do you think is going to make a run? And who do you think who if you want to even say now, who do you think can be a World Series champion in late July? Which one of the teams out here are impressing you?
Um, I probably the team that's really impressed me the most this season, personally, probably been Atlanta.
Yeah,
Um,
they're so much fun to watch.
um, I mean, I don't really feel like I've been like so overly impressed by one team this
Hmm.
year. I mean, Atlanta's pretty good. I like Atlanta. Um, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think Baltimore's really the team that I feel like is going to make a big run.
Yeah, if not now, then in the next few years, there's a good chance you'll see
Two
them.
wild card teams I think are going to make. I think San Diego's going to make a run in that last spot. I just think they're too talented to not. They're only 6.5 games out. They're going to get to 3.5 or 4 pretty soon, in my
Yes,
opinion.
as
And
long as they don't kill each
watch
other.
out, watch out for the Chicago Cubs as well. They're only 5 games out. So those two teams I feel like could make some noise in the back half because no one in that wild card race really, honestly, no one in the NL wild cards really impresses me too much.
Hmm.
So yeah, watch out for the Cubs and the Padres.
Yeah, I think the Braves, even though they've cooled off a little, I still think they're too talented to be stopped. And Charlie Morton, I guess, is their best pitcher, and he's fine. But imagine if they had like a true ace or a couple of them, then that would be a scary team. But they are as impressive offensively as that comes. And I think the Braves are going to clearly be the team to beat. And this it's their season to win.
But you see that every year. Like you see the teams that like last year the Dodgers won 11 game, 111 games, but then the wild card. I feel like if the Reds can get in,
Mm,
with that wild card spot, that's a sleeper team to make the World Series. With
yeah,
De La Cruz, Fraley has been really good. They have a lot of really interesting players there, so I feel like that's the one wild card team I'd be the most scared of. And
absolutely.
and then you also have the Phillies who went to the World Series last year. Who knows what it takes? They have experience. But like, if I'm gonna go right now, I'd probably say the Braves and the Orioles are the two best teams.
Hmm.
But the team that I would expect to make a run probably out of the wild card teams would be the Reds because I feel like they have the most
Yeah,
talent right now.
they have the most to gain in the trade deadline, and they especially could use a couple more starters. Um, I know there's rumors them possibly trading India, but I doubt that that's going to be the case. Use your head. You have a really special team coming out of nowhere, and they were a team that went through a lot of pain and suffering for many years. I mean, and Joey Votto, give credit to him. He stayed through it all, and he's still going to be the starting first baseman for them, and he's played all right. So, yeah, watch out for the Reds. My dad likes the Reds, so make him happy. But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps what we have to. I saw you also at Jets camp. How was that?
It was good. Jets camp was good. I saw DJ Reed. I got a video with him, so that was pretty cool.
Dope, dope. So we're excited to have you ready to cover the NFL week by week on this show.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a special season. And I know everybody's having those training camp jitters. Every little report comes in. Aaron Rodgers just had a good breakfast. People go crazy. But do you think for what you see, do you just feel like, man, this is a special feeling?
I got to tell you, man, I don't know exactly what's gonna happen this season. but I'm watching training camp and he throws the most beautiful spiral. I mean, oh my God,
Hmm.
it's an absolute dart.
At 39
Um,
years old too.
I mean, it's one of the most beautiful balls I've ever seen. That being said, do I think obviously it means nothing, knowing the Jets, you want to say believe in curses, you want to talk about a franchise that's been cursed? The Jets are more cursed than any other franchise in New York, without a question. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna go too crazy, but
Well, we will save that for another time then.
yeah,
And then maybe this could be the year you excuse me, that you really maybe become a Joe Douglas fan.
don't even go there. Do not, because we don't have enough time. We don't have enough time in the day for that.
No worries, man. We'll save that for another time. But thank you, Hayden. We appreciate the time. And let's see what deadline moves are about to come, and then we can hopefully react to it in a couple weeks. And if anything, if baseball becomes boring, we know what to really look forward to this fall, right?
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good.
All right. Appreciate it, Hayden.
All right.